Yes, well, a very good morning. Thank you to everybody for joining us on Escape to Nature and a look at this way of starting this morning Escape to Nature. I'm hoping they are moving off. Sorry, they on the left. They're going on the. We've got two female lions that's just moving off the airstrip. They were busy stalking a wildebeest, and they're just going to go into the thickets now. And we will definitely follow up on them and see where they do go. But yes, definitely, I am so excited for this morning, and what a way to start at Madikwe Game Reserve here in the northwestern side of South Africa. And as you can see, we've got these two amazing lionesses now that's just going into the thickets. But we'll try and follow up as soon as possible. But yes, I think we might just shoot around and go take a little bit take a look on the northern side there. Good morning, everybody. My name is Cedric, and behind the camera with me this morning we've got Igor. So thanks for joining. What a way to start. What a way to start. All right, I need to move here because we have to try and see if we can follow these lionesses and try and find them. But let's go. Well, as you can see, it is a live and interactive show. So if you've got any questions or comments, please send them through to us. And yes, if you're watching on the Wild Earth app or Wild Earth website, make sure that you do register so you can send them through. Or if you're watching on the YouTube channel, make sure that you click on the subscribe button so you can get all our latest content on Wild Earth Show. Right, it looks like they went straight down this road. I don't know. Maybe. Let's see. Follow up, man. Females. I think that impala just saw them. I think that impala saw them, and that's why these females decided to go into the bush and stay out of sight. What a way to start. And I'm just hoping that we are gonna try and relocate on these lionesses somewhere here. Always try and take a look. Never know. I don't know. I'll take a look.
Good morning and welcome to the beautiful Okukuyo. Very gloomy and ominous today, but what a start, Cedric and Igor. You guys are showing off again today, but we are super happy for you. My name is Lisa, and of course I will be your waterhole naturalist, keeping an eye on Okukuyo as well as Gowrie Dam in Djuma. But as I say, it is a fairly gloomy day today in Okukuyo so far. But I am not too unhappy about that. Hopefully this will bring forth some rain for us. But yes, I think let's rather have a look-see at Djuma. Hopefully we've got some animals there. Alrighty. Hopefully we will have some animals visiting us today. I have had a look around already. Not much happening in Djuma either, but that is perfectly fine. Hopefully this is the calm before the animal sighting storm. You never know. But as Cedric mentioned, we are live, we are interactive, so please do get in touch with us. This is after all a safari. So we would love to hear from you. Send us your questions, your comments. I know on Sunday we chatted a little bit about Afrikaans words for birds, and all of you educated me on some of your languages as well. But I would love to hear from you today. Tell me something about you. What do you do for a living? Where are you from? What's your favorite animal? What's your favorite sighting that we've had at Wild Earth? I would love to hear from you, specifically since the animals are not showing up yet. Hopefully they will do so though. I was just saying to Jordan, the lovely voice in my ear, that it seems like it's going to be hot today. But it actually seems like it's becoming a little bit overcast now. But what do I know? Let's take a look at the weather and see what we can expect today. (25°C in Djuma. Do you know that that is ice cold for the greater Kruger? But as I say, we never know what's going to happen. We will just have to be super patient and see what we can actually expect and anticipate for the day. I personally am hoping for some elephants, no shocker there. And I was just saying to Jordan that it would be lovely to actually see some lions as well. Jacinta, yes, can you believe it? A cheetah on Djuma. How strange is that? I mean, obviously it's possible. It's not that cheetahs are banned from this area, but it's just obviously not a common sighting. Cheetahs are not very fond of lions and leopards in an area, so they, even when they are in an area, they make themselves as scarce as possible. But Jacinta, I promise I will try my very best for you. We never know what we will find for the day, whether it's a cheetah or some elephants or perhaps Dewey the hippo that comes back to Gowrie Dam. We never know, and that truly is the beauty about what we do. We can literally have a peaceful and calm morning, and the next moment, bam! Everything. Elephants and rhinos chasing each other, lions and hyenas having a cup of coffee. You never know. You really never know what's going to happen on safari, and that is truly, I think, my favorite thing about what we do. Is that sometimes you anticipate, oh, we might find this or that because you've got fresh dung and you've got fresh tracks. Of course, for us on the dam cams, virtually it is a little bit more challenging to actually smell dung and look for tracks and all of that. But you never know, Jacinta. I promise I will keep my eyes peeled, especially for you. And of course, please do let me know what all of you are wanting to see today, whether it's here at Gowrie Dam, at Madikwe. Hopefully Cedric and Igor find those lions again for us. Or perhaps we'll have some interesting interactions in Okakoyo. I have sent the animals an email again, just telling them, Kui, it is Tuesday. It is not a public holiday, nor is it weekend. Why are you not awake? But we'll see. We shall see. I actually just want to have a look-see and see if our parrots are awake yet. Our nesting brown-headed parrots. Luckily it is not windy today, otherwise we would be shaking around a lot again. But it seems like we are having some fair weather for now. So is that you? Yes, look at it. They truly are so adorable. I feel like we should give them names. I think the time has come for us to give the parrots each a name. So I'm going to let you ponder on that. Remember, there's two of them. It is a nesting couple. So let me know, what do you think we should name the two brown-headed parrots? But for now, I'm going to send you over to Nick, who's in Kariga.
Good morning from Kariga Game Reserve here in the Eastern Cape. We've started the day off with some cracker conditions. My name is Nick and I'll be your photo naturalist for today. And I'm so glad that you could join us here on this stellar Tuesday. Remember, this is a live and interactive safari, so if you've got any questions, any comments, please do send them through. And what a way to start our escape to nature here at Kariga. These zebras are really putting a show on for us. Looks like they're actually analyzing some type of scent. So we are here kind of just on the banks of Scotia Dam. You can see there's plenty of zebra in the background. And temperatures have really risen a lot in the past sort of hour or so. So we've got a lot of activity of animals slowly starting to filter down to the water itself. You can see we've got a blesbok making its way across there. There are some elands starting to do their thing as well. I'm excited to see what the bush has got in store for us today. It's always a surprise. And I'm really hoping we might get some warthogs coming down to the water. But time will tell. We'll have a look and see. Alrighty, there are our eland that we were talking about. Look at that, beautiful. It's been amazing to watch how this morning it's been quite really like a late start for everybody. You know, it was very chilly this morning and it's only really heated up in the past hour. And obviously with the temperature starting to rise, it's brought out a lot of the animals to start doing their thing, which is absolutely great. No reason for them to rush. But I'm sure we'll get a steady wave of animals starting to come down here. Hey Zach, good morning. I'm so glad that you could join us here today. Apologies for the sound of that vehicle passing by. But yes, Zach, I'm so happy that you could be here. And I'm sure all of the animals are going to read the script and put on a show for us today. I mean, look at this as a start here. Look at all the greenery. Our eland have got their head up posing for the picture. And I've really enjoyed spending time with eland. It's a species of animal that I actually haven't really spent all too much time with. So it's great to be able to spend so much time with them. And the rest of the herd is kind of just here on the right hand side. You can see they're all starting to make their way down with that big bull in the center there, with that characteristically darker color that he's got. But I must say, I've slapped on my second layer of sunscreen for the day already. So the temperature is definitely getting there. If you were with us during our sunrise safari, we did manage to find a nice herd of buffalo who were very comfortable lying down in one of the lower lying dips. And I'm sure at some point in time we're going to get them at either one of the mud wallows or here at Scotia Dam. And you can see in the background behind these eland, there are plenty of birds there around and about. Yellow-billed ducks. Really a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Look at that, that's beautiful. So nice when that eland's kind of looking directly towards us. Half of its face is in sunlight and half of it's kind of in shadow. It would be nice for a portrait close-up picture.
Did you know that explorers are watching ad-free right now? Right this very minute, they are listening to the soothing sounds of nature and seeing uninterrupted content.
I am shaking with excitement.
But don't fret, you can try out an Explorer subscription in monthly, 6-monthly and yearly options. Experience nature naturally, totally ad-free. Wild Earth Explorers, it's in your nature.
Beautiful to be able to be so close to these Inyala as well. They're displaying to each other, seems to have kind of calmed down for the moment. But let's have a look and see if they don't raise that white hair up again. I must say, I think Inyala are a very underrated antelope species. You know, they are relatively plentiful, but look at the coloration of this Inyala. Those yellow socks to the legs there, stripes going down the body. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. Yeah, a little bit of careful footing as he crosses the road. Look at that, and off he marches. All these animals are almost like parading for us here. It's unbelievable. You can see we've got our characteristic Scotia tree in the background. That's what this dam is named after, Scotia Dam. So obviously Scotia being the scientific name of the boerbean, the family being the boerbean, and this will be specifically a Karoo boerbean tree in the back there. A beautiful antelope, the eland. So definitely the largest antelope we're going to find here. And Mike, 100%, you've hit the nail on the head. They are a large antelope, but their tones are very subtle, very neutral, sort of coloured tones. Another Nyala flitting through there. And there's our big bull in the centre. Look at him. He is a beauty. And I don't know if you can hear as they're walking that very characteristic clicking noise. That's their ligaments slipping over the tendons. Always sounds like such an uncomfortable way when you hear that very characteristic clicking noise. And remember, for both our male and our female eland, they're going to have horns, with the horns of the male being slightly shorter, but a bit thicker than that of the females. Matthew, no, the clicking noise isn't from a show of sort of dominance to each other. Even females will make that clicking noise. It's when they walk, it's their tendons slipping over the ligaments that makes that very characteristic type of click. So it's not a type of noise that is purposefully made, that's made inadvertently. Every time they take a step, you hear that very characteristic clicking noise. Kind of gives me a little bit of the thrills every time I hear it. It just sounds very, very uncomfortable. I'm going to stick around here at Scotia Dam as the temperature does start to rise. There's a good chance we're going to get a lot more species starting to come down. But I think for now, let's take you across to Lisa and see what she's got.
Thank you, Nick. Oh, what a start. I cannot tell you how long it's been since I've last seen elands. I think it was literally years and years and years ago. I'm just trying to recollect if I'm perhaps missing a location where I did last see them. But my very first reserve that I guided on, we had elands on the upper escarpment. Very, very similar with regard to the landscape and topography and the geology of Kariga. But I think that is the last time I actually saw them in the wild. I did see them at Disney as well, at Disney World, Animal Kingdom Lodge. But they are stunning animals. As you can see, it is still fairly peaceful here in Djuma. We are still waiting for some animals. And I've just done a bit of birding, of course, with the parrots. Oh, and look at the lovely, lovely starling. Lenny, good morning. You are saying that the parrots should be named Lucy and Ricky. Oh, I like that. If any of you agree with that one, let me know. If you are wondering, Lisa, what are you talking about? I asked for some suggestions for our brown-headed parrot couple that's busy nesting in Djuma. So do let me know if you agree with Lenny's suggestion. Lucy and Ricky, I like that. It seems very fitting for them. But I don't think we should be giving the starling a name as well. I mean, we see so many of them. It will be a little bit difficult to keep track of everyone. But speaking of which, let me just see if I can potentially get back to them. Let's see if she's got a Lucy face. I think so. But I would love to hear from you. If you agree with Lenny's suggestion for the brown-headed parrots, should we name them Lenny and... No, not Lenny. Lenny and Lucy, no. Lucy and Ricky. Let us have a look-see. Cooey, is anyone home? No? Are you sleeping? We have given you your wake-up call, you know, and you did actually wake up, so I don't know what's happening right now. There you are! Does that seem like a Lucy or Ricky to all of you? Let me know. I would love to hear from you. Lenny suggested that we call the parrot couple Lucy and Ricky. I like it. But of course, I would love to hear from you as well. This is a team effort. Is that what we'll go for? But if you are not perhaps familiar with these birds, these are brown-headed parrots. Beautiful birds. They are migrants. And right now it seems like a very unimpressive bird with regard to plumage. You can see it's just got a very pale brown head. But then when they come outside that tree, they've got this stunning, stunning neon green plumage. And they really are beautiful birds. If you are not familiar with them, please do go look them up. They are absolutely beautiful. I think all birds are. No, I shouldn't say that. I don't think a hardy-dar is pretty. But they really are stunning, stunning birds. I always wonder, are both of them inside? Is it just one at a time? It's incredible to think that that bird can actually get in there, because it just seems like the head fits. But they are very, very clever. They get the whole body inside that tree trunk. And both of them are actually responsible for incubation. So that is why I'm saying I'm not too sure if it's just the one parent right now or if it's both of them. Perhaps mom's sleeping in, dad is on the lookout, or vice versa. Or perhaps one of the parents is just inside, busy incubating or either taking care of the chicks. I don't think they are chicks yet. I think they are still busy with the incubation, but again, I unfortunately do not have X-ray vision. I apologize. I wish I could add that to my resume. It would be very impressive. But the reason I say I don't think they have the chicks yet is due to the fact that there's not a lot of active feeding going on right now. Of course, if you are feeding 5 birds as opposed to just 1 bird, it's going to be much different with regard to the actual activity outside the tree. Lucy and Ricky, let me know what you think. Now, I was just saying I'm not too sure what is happening currently. I do not know if the chicks have already hatched. Personally, I don't think they have. There's not a lot of activity outside the food with regard to, actually finding food, and not outside the food, outside the tree, Lisa. That is a tree. That is not food. Not for the parrots, at least. But it could be that both parents are actually inside. It could be that one is on the outside, looking for food, perhaps. But as I say, both are done by the male and female. For the most part, research shows that it is mostly done by female, but there has actually been some cases where both of them are responsible for it. And there might be 2 eggs in there might be 3, there might be 4. Generally, they lay 2 to 4 eggs, and we definitely know that they are in fact nesting in this tree. And it's incredible when you think about it. This tree, both of them actually have been home to so many creatures, to birds, to squirrels, all sorts of things out here. Mother Nature never wastes. Mrs. Walrus, you are saying why not call them Bob and Bobette? That is also a good one. I like it. I like it. Keep those suggestions coming. And this is not an official naming the parrots thing. It is just us having some fun on Escape to Nature and giving some suggestions. Hopefully, if everyone agrees, we can stick with those. But it is not like I'm going to be going straight after Escape to Nature and handing in the recommendations and suggestions to some or other committee. This is literally just us having a bit of fun. I do just quickly want to have a look-see around. Jacinta, you are saying Lenny sounds better than Ricky, so we should make it Lenny and Lucy. I also like that. I really am all for these. I love the suggestions, and please do keep them coming. I think by now we've allowed them quite enough time to, perhaps give them a name. Just like Dewey has a name, and the hyenas and the leopards. Monique, good morning. I hope you are well. You are saying Danny and Cammy, like Damn Cam. Ooh, that is also a good one. Danny and Cammy. I like all of these. You see, this is why I'm never in charge of executive decisions, because I'm all for everything. They would literally have 5 middle names alone if it were up to me, just like with the geese or the goslings that has now become geese in Okokoyo. I literally have to take everyone into consideration when actually naming them. So I definitely love all of these. What a pretty day in Djuma it is. It'll be interesting to see what the weather is going to do within the next hour or so. Is it going to clear up completely? Veld Orca, you are saying Tweedledee and Tweedledum. I love that as well. You see, this is why I shouldn't be in charge of anything. I love everything. I love it all. Let me know which ones you like. Do you have another suggestion, perhaps? Tweedledee and Tweedledum. I like that too. I like it. Ricky and Lucy. I would love to hear from you. Just look at this beautiful day in Djuma. You see, this is the kind of weather you want when you are going to Greater Kruger. This is, of course, a wonderful time as well to visit, because it is still hot enough, it is still green enough, you know, aesthetically pleasing, but it is not that hot that you are dying of thirsts, dying of heat. And with a little bit of cloud cover, it does definitely help the animals as well. You can see there's even a slight bit of a breeze. Luckily we are not blowing away like we did the other day on the Djuma Dam Cam. That was a bit profuse. Not going to lie. Oof. But this grass is getting very long as well. I mean, generally when we were able to see the pond over here, the animals were actually able to come drink water here, and they still are. There's still water in here. But with regard to actually seeing something at that water specific, then becomes a little bit difficult. A few weeks ago we did have our jacana that was moving around, and you could really keep a close eye on it. Isn't it absolutely exhilarating to know that literally under any tree, any bush, there could be a cat or really anything, a honey badger, anything could be around. You never know. A python. I remember the one day I was on safari, we were looking at some hippos and we were situated on the dam wall. It was called Hyena Dam. And as I looked over my shoulder, because of course, you know, as a naturalist, you have to look at the guest and the animals and everything around you. And as I looked over, my guest was as pale as a sheet. And I said to her, "What's wrong?" And she was looking in the opposite direction. She was looking at the bush, not at the dam and the hippos. And as I looked over to where she was pointing, there was probably a good 2-meter python in the tree, just chilling. And I did not for the life of me even see it. That's why it's always good to have as many eyes as possible. And specifically, you know, with Escape to Nature as well. If you see anything that we might potentially miss, please do let us know. Perhaps you see a bird or a leopard lurking. Leopard lover, you are saying feather and dew. I like that too. I like it. I vote yes. I vote yes on all of them. I think this is going to have to come down to a vote eventually, because if Lisa was to make the actual decision, then yes, as I say, these birds would each have at least 10 names. Perhaps we can give them a name for each day of the week. Really complicate things. But keep them coming. I love it, leopard lover. I love all of them. But if you haven't already heard, Quizmania is almost upon us. So of course this will be in aid of Earth Month, and we will be running that every Saturday and every Sunday in April. So we'll be hosting a Quizmania marathon. If you do not know what this is, have a bit of fun and just enter for it. It is so much fun, honestly. But if you think you've got what it takes to crown the Quizmania champs, or to be crowned, please do go enter yourself and someone else. It has to be 2 or more people to make a team. And you can do so by going over to wildearth.tv/Quizmania. And remember, registrations close tomorrow, the 29th of March. It is actually my sister's birthday tomorrow. So hopefully that way you can remember it. You have to enter for this because it's Lisa's birthday and this is the only chance you have left. But only tomorrow. You still have today and tomorrow. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I personally enjoy them because, believe it or not, even as naturalists, sometimes we give a head scratch or two as well, and we're like, I have no idea what that answer is. Woo! Camera, calm down. We are not flying away. But as you can see, it is very quiet today. Oh no, not quiet. I don't like saying that. It is less action-filled today so far at Gowrie Dam and Okokoyo. So send through your questions, your comments, get in touch with me. Let me know what you do for a living. Where do you live? What do you do for a living? What's your favorite animal and why? What's your favorite saying that one of the naturalists say? I would love to hear from you. Some of the best safaris are those without animals, believe it or not. I remember, so the one thing, well, among many others that I loved about my previous lodge that I was working at, is that we had no set safari time. We could literally, if all of your guests were in agreement, you could say, listen, we're going out tomorrow 3 a.m. and we'll see what happens. Or we're going out at midday to see if we can see anything at the waterholes. And I remember the one morning we came back from a 7-hour safari, and the chefs were not impressed with me because the chefs actually cook to order. There's no buffet or anything, so whenever the guests come back, that's when they get their food. And we came back 7 hours later and my lodge manager actually called me in and he said, listen, it's wonderful that you're spending so much time with your guests, but what did you see? And I literally for the life couldn't tell him anything, significant or wow or anything. I said, we saw some plains game and impala and zebras on the plains, and I literally shot a blank. Not because I forgot, because we didn't see anything that is generally, like, oh, that was amazing. We just had so much fun talking so much nonsense on safari. I think we stopped 3 times for coffee during the actual safari, which was a lot of fun. So that's why I say definitely please do get in touch with me. Let me know about anything or ask me anything. If you have any questions about the animals, about the parrots, if you've got name suggestions for the parrot couple, I would love to hear from you. We've had Lucy and Ricky, Danny and Cammy, Feather and Bo. Goodness, I'm having the memory of a goldfish today. Even Max is forgetting. Come now, Max. Bob and Bobette and Tweedledee and Tweedledum. There's been many, so if you've got any suggestions, let me know. Right now we are just looking at a hole or a crevice. There is actually a brown-headed parrot inside, if it would like to reveal itself. Reveal yourself! No? No? So rude. But I've got very exhilarating news. I was actually only going to share this with you on Thursday, and it's more exhilarating for me. But I'm going on safari. I'm going on a bit of a wee vacation. As I've mentioned to many of you, I'm having serious withdrawal symptoms, and I've not been in the bush for, well, I'm not even going to tell you how long, just for too long. So next week I will be giving you some updates on what I got to see, what I got to saw. Goodness, Lisa. Seesaw. Let's do a bit of English. But I'm very, very excited. I will take a lot of photos and I will share all my experiences with all of you wonderful people. Ooh, what is that? It's a water buck. Look at us, making progress.
Wild Earth's mission is an expensive one, but we know that our live experience is important to so many people that cannot afford to pay for it. We have added a donate button to our website. By donating, you are directly helping us share our free nature experiences with the world. We want Wild Earth to reach children, budding conservationists, and the less fortunate. A little money goes a long way. You can make a difference to someone today.
to be coming out now. Timing was a little off there. But if you are not familiar with this donkey-looking like animal, this is a waterbuck, fairly common antelope species we have in Africa. And like their name suggests, they like water, not just drinking it, but playing in it, moving through it to evade a predator. They are very resourceful animals for a lot of reasons. For me personally, I have not had many sightings of predators actually feeding on waterbuck, and there can be a lot of reasons for that, but one of the main features or functions that they have is they actually have a secretion gland in their neck itself, and if they feel threatened or provoked in any manner, they actually release a very foul smell. It's really not lovely, and for the most part I assume that a leopard or a lion then thinks, this poor animal definitely has expired. I don't think this will be very tasty. Oh, Mom, where did you go? I got such a fright. You just disappeared. But Mom is in excellent condition. You can actually see the gloss on her coat. I love this time of year, specifically photographing antelope, because everything in the bush is just so lush and nutritious for them, and of course that is definitely an advantage to their actual looks as well. So just like your dog or cat or whichever pet you have at home, unless it's a reptile I assume, a glossy coat makes for good nutrition. Oh, just beautiful. Alrighty, I'm going to keep an eye on them, make sure they stay safe. And I will definitely keep off the predators. But for now, I'm going to send you over to Cedric, who's doing some birding in Madikwe.
Here towards Madikwe Game Reserve. As you can see, we've got a beautiful fish eagle, a juvenile fish eagle that's sitting right on top of this dead tree. But earlier we had those two lionesses. We did try and follow up on those lionesses. Unfortunately, we did not come right. I think they did go into some very thick stuff close to the airstrip side, and we could not relocate on them. And as well as yesterday afternoon, we had a huge thunder shower here and a thunderstorm, and so there's a lot of areas that's pretty much closed at the moment due to being very waterlogged around this area here at Madikwe Game Reserve. But yes, we are at Chukuru Dam, and once again we've got this beautiful fish eagle that's just remaining on top of this dead tree, one of the dead leadwoods from many years ago. And a clever idea, just sitting up there and just looking out if it's going to be fortunate enough catching something here this morning. But it is quite cool, it is gloomy, it's windy, so I think the fish eagle is just really sitting there and trying to stay as warm as possible. But you can see a gloomy day, and we haven't seen a single mammal coming around to this dam so far. And I can understand why. It is not that hot at all, it's no sun, and it is chilly. I think this is the coldest day I've experienced so far this year. Igor and myself, we are like shaking at the moment. I don't think we were too well prepared for a cold day like this. So yes, it's alright. We'll have to just make do with what we've got on at the moment. But yes, what's nice, well, I say a juvenile fish eagle, but you can see that little bit of that white on the back. It's got a little bit of blotches around there. Same as we saw it flying around the other day. Monique, why so many rainy safari stories? Well, Monique, because rainy safari stories are... Thanks, Max. I didn't understand what you were saying there. what are some of my rainy safari stories? Well, Monique, I think my craziest rainy safari storm. Actually, funny enough, and this was when I was at Arathusa. So I'm a little bit, I'm gonna say, nervous about electric storms due to the reason of this particular day. I was coming back and we saw this huge buildup of clouds just to the south of us, and we were out on drive. Didn't have a roof on. It looked like a beautiful day, but then you can just see in the distance this cloud just building and building. And I thought, well, I'm sure by the end of our game drive we would, we'll get back and then it'll only start raining. I think we'll miss it completely, but that was not the case. I think it was about maybe an hour and a half into our game drive. We were quite far from the lodge, and of course that all those clouds came in very quickly overhead, and a lot of lightning started happening, and then it just bucketed down. And now, of course, being at least maybe a good half an hour away from the lodge, we turned around and had started to head back to the lodge, and we got totally soaked. But by the time we were not too far from the lodge, maybe about 5-10 minutes out, next moment I had this lightning strike right next to us. I could smell the lightning. That's how close it was. You could actually smell the lightning, almost like like that electrical burn smell. And I got such a fright. I just stopped the vehicle immediately, dived under the dashboard, and I thought I was that day electrocuted by that lightning. But of course, I stood up again, or not sat up again, got behind the wheel, and rushed back to the lodge. And yes, so since then, when it comes to electric storms, I'm not. I love them. I love listening to them. I love seeing them in a distance. Beautiful. And if I'm if I'm in safety, I love it. But don't put me out there when I don't have a roof above me and there is a lightning storm. Then it's a little bit nerve-wracking. And I felt a little bit like that yesterday, because yesterday afternoon, that electric storm was quite a showcase. And now and again, I just felt, a little bit nervous. Oh, what do we have there? What is that? Is that the fish eagle? Oh, it's got a fish. No, it's got something. It looks like maybe some of that water weed. No, it's got a fish, eh? Yeah. Oh my goodness, did we miss it completely? Wow, wow, wow. Look at that, we can see the juvenile, see that's blotches, but look what it got. It's got maybe it looks like a catfish, yeah, it looks like a catfish just by the tail. Long back end. Hey, there we go, well done. we got a kill. That is fantastic. But unfortunately, it looks like when he made the catch, he did not do the typical kind of swooping down, catching it and swooping up. He kind of just flopped into the water. You can see he's all ruffling its feathers now. It's all wet. Oh, there we go. And it went and sit just right for us. So we can at least see. Oh, no, it's yeah, definitely catfish. Struggling to sit up there. Let's see what he's going to do from here. Maybe he'll go and sit on a different perch here somewhere. Well, hence the name Fish Eagle. They catch fish, as you can see. Definitely specialized at catching fish and good on this sub-adult. And it's got a good catch for the morning. And look at those talons still wrapped around that fish. Clearly looks like the fish is not even fighting back. I think that fish might be even dead by now. Very, very sharp beak. The fish is just digging in. That's why we're going first, to sever the spine. Now, how long it will take on that fish? Well, I'm sure it'll feed on that for a few minutes. Just see. I think then it'll keep him nice and full just for the morning. Maybe he'll try again to swoop down and try and see if he can pick up another fish, which will be brilliant. Imagine having 2 kills in a day by this fish eagle. Ray J, yes, I think electric storms here in Madikwe, well, I clearly have witnessed it now. It's not even the first time yesterday. I think we witnessed this huge electric storm maybe about 2 weeks ago, and it's quite incredible. I think it's all the granite around here, quite a conductor as well, so all these granite hills and that around this area. It's almost like the Lowveld. Lowveld as well, we get a huge electric storms that side. Alright, well, I'm glad we got to show you the fish eagle busy eating its gill. It's fantastic, Ike. Yes, I'm just a little bit upset that I didn't see it coming down, swooping into the water. I was busy chatting about the rain and that, and my experiences, and I cleanly missed this kill. But anyway, it's fine. At least we got to see the fish eagle that was in the water just for a short period, and of course coming up here and feeding on this fish now. You'll think, why is this fish eagle also alone? Many times, look, your birds of prey, a lot of them are monogamous, so you always find them usually in, like in pairs. But this sub-adult now has just been hanging around this dam. I haven't seen any adults at this dam itself. I've just seen this sub-adult, and maybe it's just taking this opportunity. It doesn't have any real competition from any other older fish eagles around here, so it's just hanging around here for a little bit longer. Maybe it might set up an area, maybe I set up a territory around 2 or 3 of the dams in the vicinity. But for now, I think it's still just a little bit young, just still kind of taking its time here at this dam. Johnny, a fish eagle is one of my favorites for sure. Johnny, definitely. I mean, I love a fish eagle. I think they are beautiful birds, and they are, when they do call, they've got that beautiful call of Africa. I love that noise, and how they fling their heads back. But when it comes to my favorite bird, all kinds of birds, even the birds of prey, it'll be definitely the African hawk eagle. African hawk eagle is still my top one, but I love the fish eagle. I love all eagles, actually. I love all birds, so I really to really kind of say, oh, this is going to be my favorite, or this one, and I think I love all birds. Each one's got its unique ability on doing something, like the fish eagle grabbing a fish from the water. That's amazing. We're just going to sit here and listen out, and maybe we can pick up on something else while we do sit around here at Chikudu Dam. definitely looks like this fish eagle's gonna finish that fish very soon. He's not wasting much time on it. Good old breakfast. So maybe this cool weather, I'm not too sure, is bringing maybe the barbel a little bit further up closer to the surface. That's why I took this opportunity. Because usually the barbels are bottom feeders, and where it caught it was almost in the middle of the dam. Mrs. Walrus, you like anything with a heartbeat? Yeah, definitely. There's always nice things with heartbeats around here. Well, we've got fish eagle so far, and it just stopped the heart of the catfish, so that catfish ain't got a heartbeat no more. So, but yes, the funny thing is there's not even an impala here. Not even an impala. But you never know, maybe some elephants. Never know, maybe some elephants will come down sooner or later. We had it the other day, it was quite cool as well, and well, we had a lot of action, elephant action. So it's always a possibility, there's always a chance of that happening. But I'm sure this fish eagle, all it's going to get, all it gets, it's going to get more, it's going to become more experience. So the experience, of course, is going to come over time on how to swoop down and how to catch a fish without actually even falling into the water like it did this morning. I mean, you can imagine, it's going to take practice. It's not something that I'm sure they can do straight away and swoop down and grab a fish and fly up again. I think that is quite a talent of these fish eagles and how they do that. It's the same as the osprey as well, same thing. Where they can swoop down, grab that fish without touching the water, and of course then flying off with that fish. So, but this morning, this youngster, I think he was just typically kind of, how can I say, going and trying to grab it and flopped into the water, and then, well, I managed to grab it and got out of the water somehow. So yeah, well done on this fish eagle. Joan, I'm thinking, if I'm not mistaken, with a lot of birds of prey, it's usually about a year and a half before they get their full adult plumage. So I'm not too sure exactly, maybe the fish eagle is different, but I know when it comes to birds of prey, when it comes to something like your tawny eagle, your Wahlbergs, a lot of the eagles, it takes about a year and a half to 2 years even to get their full plumage. I think a Bateleur is a little bit longer. I think a Bateleur is like 2 years, but can always just double check on that. But you can see this one's almost losing all its little spots and blotches and that. It's almost, I'll give and take, maybe another, say, 2-3 months for this sub-adult to actually lose those young feathers and get its full adult plumage. So, and it's very close. Even the face is slowly but surely, the beak itself and the face is slowly getting to that yellow color and losing that grey color. And my dad always used to call them spotties. So, because when we were staying in Marloth Park on the Crocodile River, we used to always have a pair of fish eagles that pretty much nested just there at the river itself. So every single year we would actually see the chick of the fish eagles, and of course sitting in the trees and that. And my dad always used to call them the spotties, because those youngsters, the juveniles, had all those little spots on them, like little blotches, and sometimes you couldn't even think it was a fish eagle. You'd think it was completely another bird of prey, but it was a fish eagle itself. So this one's definitely almost losing all of it now. They become so territorial over their area. So if there's a pair, like the same pair that hangs around there at Chitwa Dam in the northern Sabi Sands, and you'll find like that pair is always back and forth. They usually always go to Chitwa Dam, or they just go west from Chitwa Dam into, of course, another property called Little Gowrie, and there's also like 1 or 2 water holes that pair pretty much utilizes as their hunting grounds, as their territory. Timothy, yes, fish eagles do. They build quite a big nest, a lot of sticks. They use a lot of sticks, and what they'll do then, they'll use softer material like sometimes leaves, nice green leaves, feathers for the inside of the nest itself, to make it nice and comfortable for where the eggs are laid and where the female will incubate those eggs. But on the outskirts it'll be very, very messy. Not like a messy nest, but it's they use very thick twigs and branches as nesting material. So, and usually always in the fork of trees. So many times you'll find them high up on like knobthorn trees, things like that. You'll find them always building nests up there. So I'm not too sure what nest that is. I thought it might have been maybe red-billed buffalo weavers, but I haven't seen a single one yet. I'm just thinking, no idea what built that nest. It's just above the fish eagle. It could be red-billed buffalo weavers. Those are build that very messy kind of nest, and always in these dead trees, I can say surrounded by water. It's just a protection for their chicks and their eggs and that. So I can't see nicely, but it is a whole lot of branches there as well. I don't think that's not the fish eagle's nest. It's definitely not the fish eagle's nest. So I haven't seen anything. There's no movement around there. So it looks like that fish eagle is probably almost done. Seems like it's definitely had a perfect meal for this morning. And you can also see the feathers all flapping in the wind. So it just shows you how windy it is at the moment around here. And it's a cold wind. It's a very cold wind. It feels like I'm in the Cape again. Joanne, good morning. What other raptors do we get in Madikwe? Well, we definitely get the tawny eagle. That's one of them. We're going to get the Wahlbergs. We've seen that. We've seen them already. Well, we've seen one. We saw actually yesterday, we saw the black-chested snake eagle around this dam as well. Was Igor's first one, was his lifer yesterday afternoon. So you got to see that, which was very nice. And then of course the brown snake eagle, the lesser spotted eagle, as well as martial eagles as well. Martial eagle. So there's a lot. There's a lot. African hawk eagles, yeah, my favorite eagle, definitely. That's one of the nice raptor birds that we do get around here. I have seen them. And then of course we saw the Lana falcon. We've actually seen the Lana falcon a few times already, which is nice. That was it's such a beautiful bird of prey. That it's really stunning. Got to see them at two of the dams. So it seems like they enjoy hanging around the dam areas, and especially when the doves and they come down to drink. Of course, that Lana falcon usually will take that opportunity to swoop down and grab them. And I think our most common two raptors for us this side, or birds of prey, will be our pale chanting goshawk. Definitely the pale chanting goshawk will be by far, I think, the most common one that we get here. And then of course the black-winged kite, the one that hovers above and actually comes down and swoops down for like any little rodents that's running around. So Joan, yeah, so that's I think there's a lot. If you think about it, there's plenty. And the Amur falcon, we got to see that. We're flying around the other day as well, around one of the dams. Amur falcon. Unfortunately, we just saw it flying, and that's about it. We didn't see much more of it. So, yeah, Joan, that's a lot. I think it's a lot of raptors around here at Madikwe. I think bird life in general is fantastic. Yeah. Look at the little pied kingfisher, pied wagtail there that just flew. And just flew up towards where the fish eagle was. I don't know where he went off now. Well, let's just take a look a little bit further down to another side. We see a beautiful big bird. It's called a white bird, and it's just sitting on the water edges here. It's quite far. It's right on the other side of the dam, so it is going to be a little bit of a tricky one. I want to see if we can get it into frame. Oh, and we've got a pied kingfisher just above it. Look at that. We've got a great egret and a pied kingfisher in one frame. Look at that pied kingfisher. Oh, it's of course fishing around here. Clever idea. Because as you know that fish eagle just caught a fish, so you know that there is fish inside of this dam. And you're going to see it hovering, and it'll fly. If it sees a fish, it'll dive into the water and try and impale it, or try and grab it with that sharp beak. Oh, did he come right? Difficult. No, he didn't. If he did come right, he'll take the fish. Oh no, well, he'll take the fish to like a stump or something, and then he'll try and kill the fish by smacking it on a piece of wood. So what he's trying to do is just try to look for any little bit of like a fish, a little bit of movement that's happening just below the water surface. Oh, I just went to and sit up there now. Right, beautiful, like it's black and white, so but it's got beautiful patterns on them. And I think it's what's stunning about it is that's why they call it a pied. Like we saw the pied wagtail not too long ago, close to the fish eagle. Now we've got the pied kingfisher. So the pied means black and white. It's like a graph, a pied graph. So pied, black and white. And then pied crow, pied barbet, pied kingfisher, wagtail, everything black and white. So it looks like a, and sometimes they will actually fish from sitting on a perch like this. So instead of hovering above the water, sometimes you'll find that these pied kingfishers will actually just sit on these little perches here, and then if it sees something, it'll just dive down straight from that branch. So instead of really kind of wasting too much energy. Just see the one.
Thanks to our wonderful Wild Earth explorers, Wild Earth Kids is back. Your monthly subscriptions have allowed us to relaunch Wild Earth Schools on a weekly basis, every Wednesday for the first hour of the Sunset Safari.
You guys bring a smile to my face every single day.
Sign your class up for a special virtual field trip to Africa, because touching the lives of the future protectors of our Earth truly matters.
I wonder if it is, I can't see how much is left, but he's still plucking away at that fish. Well, it is, as I say, still a little bit quiet around this dam area, just really this fish eagle. And what's that beautiful pied kingfisher? And the catfish. Well, it was a catfish. Alright, well, we're just going to keep our eyes peeled around this dam and see what else comes around here. While we do that, let's head over to Lisa. She's at the Okaukuejo Dam Camp.
Thank you, Cedric. Wonderful morning you guys are having. Ooh, I can't remember the last time I saw a fish eagle. Hopefully one of these days. But things have started up a little bit here in Okokweyo. We've had some zebra come to the water. We've now got the famous springboks. And we've also had a few blue wildebeests. So it is slowly starting to get a little bit more active. I do just want to show you the weather. It is very, very gloomy, as I mentioned earlier on. Not too great, but hopefully we get some rain. But for now, let's head on over to Djuma and see what's happening over there. We've got the Egyptian geese. And I absolutely love and adore this family. I always think it's so precious, you know, when we do get to actually get to know the animals and get to spend time with them, see them growing up. But of course we did have 2 goslings here growing up, or seeing their progress and becoming adults. And it's been wonderful to see them just stay safe, be kept safe by the parents. There's really a lot of dedication when it comes to, well, all animals, but I always think, you know, with these ground-dwelling birds, such as Egyptian geese and lapwings, those kind of birds. And leopard lover, just so that you know, we did get your comment on the birds alarm calling. I did inform our awesome Zoomy Colin helping us out on the dam cam right now. So we will definitely keep our eyes peeled. Hopefully we have something lurking about. I always find it so funny. Let's swim a little bit. All right, let's get off here. Next stop. You could have walked there. Was it that you wanted to cool off? Was it that you wanted to show off your immaculate swimming skills? What was it? We'll always wonder, I guess. Oh, nom 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 nom. Lovely grass seeds we are having. And again, this is a fairly common bird species throughout Africa. You'll even find them in a lot of the suburbs. They love golf courses. They love chasing people around. I've seen quite a few people being chased by the geese and some lapwings. But they are very resourceful. As I say, they feed mostly off of grass seeds and things like that. So for the most part, it's fairly available to them most of the time. But of course, the drier it becomes, it becomes a little bit trickier for them. And I'm looking forward to winter as well, to see, are they going to stay at Gowrie Dam? Will they move to one of the other water holes? But if you've just joined us, welcome to Escape to Nature. And currently we are in the beautiful Djuma at Gowrie Dam. My name is Lisa and I'm the waterhole naturalist for the day. And we've really had a lot of fun today already. We've seen our brown-headed parrots here in Djuma. And you are more than welcome to send some suggestions if you've got a name for the happy couple. And of course, we've got the Egyptian geese. But furthermore, it's been pretty peaceful here in Djuma. We are anxiously awaiting the arrival of a leopard riding on an elephant's back, trying to negotiate with a lion. But Cedric and Igor has had a brief glimpse of lions this morning at the start of Escape to Nature already in Madikwe. They've had a fish eagle hunting, or juvenile fish eagle, I should say. But nonetheless, a fish eagle. They are one of my favorite birds. And Nick Enkarija has checked out some eland and plains game, having fun. And as always, remember, we are live and we are interactive. So please do send through any questions, any comments, anything you would like to let us know. We are definitely here for it, to answer your questions. And of course, indulge in your wonderful comments. I personally love hearing from all of you, as does Cedric and Igor, as does Nick. But what a beautiful day it is in Djuma. It's a little bit overcast. It's very overcast in Okokweyo actually. So it'll be interesting to see how the rest of the day unfolds. And just a reminder, if you are watching on the app or on the website, remember just to register to send through your questions and comments. And furthermore, if you do follow us on YouTube, you can always just subscribe, and that way we will keep you posted with safaris, with highlights, all of that. Look at this lovely day. Lenny and Leopard Lover, you are saying that you love that I am going on safari. Thank you. I appreciate that. I really feel like a kid that is about to open a very big Christmas gift. But yes, I am super, super excited. It really is fantastic that it's finally happening and that everything is finally falling into place. But I will definitely keep you posted. You would like to know where I'm going? Yes, Queen, I like that. I'm going to the Greater Kruger, not too far away from Djuma actually. So, I'm sorry, Max. Max curiosity killed the cat. I will come whisper in your ear a little later on. But yes, I will be going to the Greater Kruger. Hopefully I get to see some leopards, elephants. Even if I see nothing, I will just be so happy to be back in the bush. And it's actually the first time my better half will be going on an actual safari. He lived in Botswana for 4 years of his life. But he's never been on a proper safari where you jump out of the vehicle and you track the animals and all of that. So I'm super excited. Hopefully we'll get to see some things. But of course I will keep all of you posted. And I will have a lot of stories to tell you next week. If everything goes according to plan, I will be departing early on Friday morning. But enough about me. These are lovely water thickneys. I got so carried away there with myself. I apologize. But you know what's something else we haven't seen in a while as well? A buffalo. A buffalo at Gowrie Dam. I know at the end of Sunrise Safari this morning, Ben saw one. Not at Gowrie Dam, but also not too far away. And he too was very surprised, saying that he's not seen a buffalo for quite some time. So even that will be lovely today. But perhaps a leopard or an elephant, or really anything. We are absolutely thrilled with anything and everything that we see out here. Whether it's the dragonflies, the parrots, the geese, whatever we get to witness out here, we must always embrace and appreciate it, for we do not know if we'll see it again tomorrow. That sounded very dramatic. I just meant we don't know if the animals will actually be in view tomorrow. But for the other reason as well. Lisa's fan club, I have not heard from you in a while. I was wondering what happened to you. Ah, Naturalist of the Month. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. But I have to tell you, I cannot take the credit. We've got wonderful people working for Wild Earth, not just the naturalists, but the camera operators, our awesome directors, the tech teams, everyone. But thank you for that compliment. It means a lot to me that you think that. But we've also got a terrapin on the stump. If you look to the left of your screen, you'll see there is Terry the terrapin catching a little bit of sun, as reptiles do. They are, of course, ectothermic. They cannot heat themselves up, so they need outer resources. And often you'll see something like a monitor lizard or crocodile. They actually open the mouth as well. And as soon as the sun hits the tongue, that actually gets dispersed throughout the body and helps them with actual body regulation, body temperature regulation. But I wonder what is going through that terrapin's mind. What do you think? Do you think he's just thinking of nothing? Which apparently is a thing. I've never understood that. I don't know how you can think of nothing. Do you think he is on the serious lookout for some insects? Because terrapins do feed on insects. They also feed on ticks and parasites that leech onto animals such as hippos, even buffaloes, antelope that come to the water. You'll see terrapins immediately going to that animal's legs and sort of feeding off of them. Max is saying he has found inner peace. Well, I hope Max too, but he meant Terry the terrapin. It does look very peaceful, does it not? Oh man, I can't wait to do that. Also, I will be doing a lot of stargazing. Unfortunately, full moon is coming up, but I will not deter me or let that deter me from doing an absolute stargazing session.
We hope that when you watch Wild Earth, you will fall in love with nature. We know that our explorers share a passion for nature and want to make a difference. Wild Earth Schools is back. Sign up to be an explorer and your subscription will help us reach the future conservationists of our planet. Invest in something that truly matters, encouraging children to care for our beautiful Wild Earth. Wild Earth Explorers, make a difference.
But as I say, even if I see absolutely nothing on my vacation, I think just to be back in nature and immersing myself, of course, you know, this is wonderful. Being able to do what we do every single day, especially for us on the dam cams, just being able to wait for the animals and have a look around, see what's happening. But I cannot tell you how excited I am to actually smell elephant dung again and to smell the bush again. Just lovely. Well, I'm going to continue my therapy session at the waterholes, and for now I'm going to send you back to Cedric, who still has his fish eagle.
Thank you, Lisa. And I know where you're going, Lisa. I know what area of the South Africa you're going. I know exactly where. Yes. Inside info. But anyway, thank you, Lisa. But yeah, we are still sitting with this beautiful fish eagle. He's devoured his entire catfish. And it is now it was just busy preening, but it looks like it's got a feather that's just out of place at the moment on its wing. As you can see, that little white feather that's sticking out there on the left hand side of it. I wonder if it's going to try and sort that out. But it is quite windy at the moment, so I think that little feather has just been pushed out by this wind. Come on, sort your feather out. Yeah, you're not looking great. So still a sub-adult, so you can still see that now. You can actually see nicely now that beautiful little white colors and specks on the wings, on the back. Maybe that's just a feather that's actually, maybe it was busy molting all its young feathers now and slowly but surely getting the adult plumage. So that could be the case. Maybe that feather needs to go. Might be a feather that's on its way out. And you can just to the left as well, you can see the little pied kingfisher as well, just to the bottom left hand side. You can see a little pied kingfisher just sitting and looking in the water and looking for an opportunity to dive in and grab a fish. So we've got two specialists at birds at fishing here. So both of these birds, they know exactly what they need to do and with different tactics. Of course, little pied kingfisher is one more diving in with that sharp beak, using the beak as a tool, as a weapon. And of course, then the larger bird on top of the fish eagle, using its huge talons as its weapon or the tool to grab that fish. But looks like we have just been joined by Lisa's favorite animal. Who can guess what that is? There you go, Lisa. Your favorite mammal has just decided to come down to the dam. There we go. So we've got a nice old elephant bull, a young elephant bull that's just made its way down to the water now for a drink for this morning. But I don't think he's going to hang around for too long. It looks like he's wasting a lot of water there as well. But as I say, it's not hot at all. It's such a cool day. It's actually a cold day. So clearly this elephant has just drank enough and now heading back into the thickets. Clever idea. Oh, I'm trying to get up there. Bulls like this are usually by themselves, usually coming down to these waterholes by themselves, sometimes kind of hooking up with some of the breeding herds and hanging around with them for a little bit, but not for too long, until they get shooed away by the matriarch and the females in the herd. But just for now, he's all by himself. Muck, yes, definitely. I think watching nature can help a person better with their mental health for sure. No, definitely, Muck. I think it's like, if I take myself for instance, if I'm having a bad day for some other reason, and I come out and drive, I tell you, everything bad of that day, it disappears. It's like, for me, it all becomes in the moment. Yeah, nature. I love it, and nature's always got such interesting things happening about it. It feels so tranquil being here, and I feel that definitely nature helps in many ways. It takes your mind away from the hustle and bustle of life. Sometimes I'm sitting here thinking to myself, well, it's almost lunchtime. I can imagine in the middle of the city now. I can imagine the traffic. For me, traffic is I run like with anxiety when there's too many cars around. Trust me, I hit almost a panic state sometimes with traffic. So for me, coming here and being out like this now in nature, that all disappears. Anxiety, the panic, the stress, everything. And I think it is so important. And we can learn from nature as well. We can learn just to go about our daily thing, and just, even if you are by yourself, like this male elephant, just go about your day. Just enjoy your day. And especially in nature, it's, as I say, a bad day in the bush is always better than a good day at the office. And clearly that old male elephant is now moved away. Fish Eagle is finished with his food. He flew off as well. This male's heading into the bush. So yeah, everything's fed and had a drink and continuing their daily chores. How beautiful is those hills at the back end? Absolutely stunning. Madikwe has definitely got some beautiful scenes here. I mean, for your sunsets, sunrises, sitting at the dams, this is scenery around here. It's spectacular. It's something that I get to see there of course in the Sabi Sands. You get to see the Drakensberg mountain range in a distance, but nothing like here where it's like right on top of you. And it feels like you're almost in an amphitheater. Yeah, stunning. Alright, so we are just left really with the Fish Eagle. Yeah, he's still around here. I'm sure that Fish Eagle is not going to go anywhere anytime soon, because it just seems like it's too cold for them to even try and get any draft coming up here. Thermals. Oh, the elephant's decided to make a reappearance. I think he did a very interesting loop. All right, well, we are going to still sit here at Chukuru Dam, and while we sit here at this very cold Madikwe, let's head over to a little bit, or actually a much warmer place down in the Eastern Cape in Kariega.
Thanks, Cedric. Yeah, definitely a lot warmer here at Kariega. The sun is out, temperatures are up, and our buffalo have found their way to a sneaky little mud wallow. Nothing wrong with that. And they've got a little onlooker, they've got a secret admirer in the background there. You can see that giraffe peeking towards us. And yeah, the rest of the herd of buffalo is kind of scattered both on my left-hand side and on my right-hand side, so kind of all around at the moment. And I must say the temperature definitely has skyrocketed a lot, so it's a nice day to be out and about here. I must say these buffalo have got the right idea. I am a firm favorite of the water, so I'm a little bit jealous of them. Definitely it doesn't look like the cleanest water in the world, but I mean for them that is really hitting the spot. You can see that one on the left-hand side is absolutely coated in mud. And kind of the rest of the members of the herd are grazing on either side of the vehicle here, while these ones in the water have kind of just flopped down and they're really enjoying it. Blogger, that's a good question. How can you connect to nature when you're in the city? This is exactly the ethos of Wild Earth. This is exactly why we have started Wild Earth, to be able to bring incredible scenes like this of what we've got to you on your doorstep, you know, whether it's a Monday or it's a Sunday. This is exactly what our goal is to do, and hopefully we're doing it well. You know, to bring you not just the sights, but also the sounds, you know, of the birds calling, of the sound of buffalo pulling grasses out, of even this morning, if you're with us on our sunrise safari, talking about, you know, how cold it is, and hopefully that we're creating an image of, you know, how cold it is, wrapping your hands around that cup of coffee. And that is exactly what we try and do. So that's definitely, I would say, if you're missing the bush and you're wanting to get a little bit of buffalo action, or, you know, a lion or a leopard, or even just a completely different type of habitat, tune into the channel, whether it's, you know, 5 o'clock in the morning, or whether it's now midday, or whether it's 4:30 in the afternoon for the sunset safari. So that would be, if I had to give you a piece of advice, my go-to. But other than that, I mean, if you're really wanting to maybe see, you know, 1 or 2 different birds flying by, there's always nice natural systems in and amongst cities and things like that. You look at your Demos areas, Durban, well, that would actually be in Durban. I'm from Durban Metropolitan Open Space System. But wherever you go throughout different cities and things like that, you'll get little parks and things like that, of where you can go. Think of Kirstenbosch in Cape Town, and really just sit down and enjoy it, and, you know, quieten yourself down. And I mean, peacefulness and tranquility, you know, different people get it from different places. You know, obviously I'm very lucky to be living and working in the bush here, but another place for me is the ocean, where I find it very relaxing. I love scuba diving and going all the way down to the bottom and just watching my bubbles cruise up, bubbling to the surface there. And I mean, it sounds super silly, but I find it quite therapeutic, of watching the fish sort of come and go, and not really actively swimming around after them, but really just kind of sticking by on the same spot, watching the fish do their thing, watching my bubbles go around. And each person will find their own little niche of where they found it really peaceful. You know, if you're in the city and a big storm rolls in, close your eyes, listen to the thunder rolling, listen to those, you know, the bolts of lightning and things like that. Even with your eyes closed, you'll see those flashes. Look at this, what an amazing scene here. There are buffalo everywhere. That buffalo that's in the center of the water has kind of been thrashing all over the place. But like I mentioned, our goal is to try and bring a little slice of paradise to you in your homes. And if there's any ways that we could maybe do so differently, if you've got any suggestions that would help us to enhance what we're doing, to even add to what we're doing, we'd love to know. Send in your suggestions. It's absolutely incredible how these buffalo are so relaxed. I mean, these ones that are at the bottom of the frame, they're literally 1.5 meters, 2 meters from the vehicle. Right here. And I'm not going to try and pan down towards them because I'll be getting half of the car. Let's see if I can try just a little bit. You can see there's the edge of the car just there. So they are right here. We'll leave them to do their thing. We don't need to be watching a vehicle when we've got buffalo everywhere else. It's amazing. You look at this buffalo that's really close to us, even on the top of her back. You can see there's grasses all over the top of her back. So I don't know what she's been doing, if potentially there's been another buffalo feeding close by and it pulled out a mouthful of grass and thought it wasn't hitting the spot and just kind of left it on the top of this female's back. Oh, yeah. So it looks like both this little calf and its mother have been in the water at some point today. Especially the calf, you can see its coat is quite wet there still, kind of all the hairs stuck together. So in terms of where we are now, I'm right on the eastern side of these Scotia clearings. And remember, there's plenty of other spots that this herd of buffalo could have been to beforehand. And I think they're really just having an enjoyable day out and about here. Look at all of the mud on the side of that calf's face there. Yeah, it's a lovely peaceful day out and about here. That giraffe is kind of still mingling around on the edges of that waterhole. And I don't know if you look in the background at the top of the frame, by that Scotia tree, you can actually see that there is another giraffe trying to get as much shade as it can from the tree. Not easy when you're as tall as a giraffe to find solid shade. of our buffalo now starting to get up from the water. Don't know if there's been some type of communication to say, oh, it's time to go. But there's been a few starting to get up out of that water. You can see that one having a really good chin scratch there. Look at that, we've got the best of both here. This one feeding in the foreground and that one in the water getting rid of that itch there. You can see there's a few calves standing next to it there. It'll be interesting to see if there's any type of learned behavior that some of those calves even start to scratch like that adult is doing. So this little one that's in the center of the frame is still a very small buffalo. Look at the size of that compared to the other calf kind of in front of it. So that's a very late born buffalo, that one that's kind of just being shielded at the back now. You know, I'd say that one's not going to be much older than a month or so. Still very small. In terms of the development of its horns, you look at a lot of the other calves and they've already got quite prominent little horns that are starting to poke through. Whereas that tiny little one at the back, it really doesn't have much horn development at all. Playing hard to get and hiding behind mom there. Yeah, there he comes, poking its head out. Let's have a look and see if it moves just to the side of this other one that we're having a look at. So in terms of age differences between the two, I would say there's probably a good sort of month, maybe even a month and a half. Probably closer to a month and a half in terms of age differences. Look at that tiny little horn starting to poke through on that one. Even in terms of coloration, you can see this one at the front has got a much darker colored neck area. Whereas that one at the back has still got that very characteristic rufous color. Now, I'm sure every now and then you can hear one or two bellows coming from the herd. It looks like there might be one of the bulls interested in the females. Liz, in terms of dropping fences to open up migration routes, obviously that is incredible. That is like the goal. You know, obviously at the same time it is difficult because, you know, there's a lot of development throughout the world, not just South Africa going on, and to try and find that balance between those wild areas and, you know, have enough land for development and things like that in terms of for the people, it's the difficulty comes in trying to strike that balance. So if migratory routes, the whole route it can't be opened up for the animals to kind of move from A to B, corridors become crucial, so important, of having a small corridor where the animals can move from A to B, that they're not completely separated from those two different geographic areas. And obviously that corridor not being as big and broad and expansive as maybe a whole game reserve, but still allowing for that opportunity for animals to move from A to B. I was recently up in a game reserve on the border of Mozambique, right up in northern KZN. And we went out in the morning. We were just doing a birding trip. We were looking for a few birding specials, African broad-billed pulse fishing owl and so on. and we were going to an area of sand forest, which was really productive for those birds. And on the way there, the guide that I was with, he spotted some elephant tracks. And he stopped and he looked at these tracks. And I'd said to him at the start, you know, I'm very interested in seeing these birds. Any type of animals along the way is great, but I'm very interested in these birds. And he looked at these elephant tracks, and he kept looking at them. You know, elephant tracks not the hardest thing to ID. There's not many animals out here that are 6 tons. And he looked at it. He got out the vehicle and he walked around these tracks and he looked at them. I said to him, "It's, you know, elephant track." So he said, "Yeah." He said, "It's the elephant track." But we don't have elephants here on this reserve. And what had happened was the river had risen so much that the elephants had come from Mozambique and they'd come back into South Africa. It was absolutely incredible to see. And how he was just baffled. He was like, I don't know how this has happened. And obviously we put 2 and 2 together and we realized that that is the case. That's how they got there. But it was actually really cool to see how everybody, all the conservation officials on that reserve were moving around trying to track these elephants. I know with all of the rain that the whole KZN area has had recently, there was another incident of there'd been a big herd of elephants, around 20-25 elephants moving around the Jesini Dam area. And overnight, they just disappeared from on the South African side. They just disappeared. And I mean, trying to track a herd of 25 elephants, it's not too hard when there's so many of them around, you know. And their tracks just kind of disappeared, and the guys were saying, I've got no idea what happened. And some of the people who had houses just on the Swazi side had said it was late at night and they thought they saw the shadow, the outline of, it looked like elephants moving through the area, coming through the dam at night. And these elephants had been so clever that wherever they'd walked, kind of crossing through these areas, they walked in the water. So obviously you can't track animals when they're walking through water. So for everybody on the South African side, they were looking and these tracks just disappeared and they couldn't figure it out. So it was absolutely amazing to see. And obviously you look at elephants in particular, it's pretty widely recognized that they've got the highest cognitive ability out of most of the animals that we find out here. It was really interesting to see how they made their way and their path through the water. It's always cute when you watch elephants doing that. You look at the little youngsters, the little calves, they wrap their trunk around mom's tail as they're kind of wading through the water. But to get back to the whole sort of point of what we're talking about, migratory routes and things like that, I think that is the aim of what we can try and get to. I think the happy equilibrium at the moment is those little corridors, allowing for a wide variety of genetics in the area, you know, animals moving from A to B freely, and those genetic differences obviously stimulating that bloodline and gene pool and things like that. Sorry about that, I zoomed in and sort of zooming out. Too focused on talking about elephants crossing through water, not thinking properly here. So these buffalo are really coming close to the vehicle here once again. Now, it's just a lovely day out and about on the reserve here. It's actually a nice little tender moment going on between that big bull that we can see and that little calf. A little bit of head nuzzling going on. Little friendly jostling session. You can see these two on the right. These are 2 slightly younger ones. You can see in terms of size, obviously a whole lot smaller. Horn development, very small as well. So I'd maybe put these as last year's generation. Joe, 100%. This is the moment when Rafiki lifts Simba up on top of Proud Rock and announces that I have also at the same time become one with the buffalo herd. Boom shakalaka. Oh, really nice to see this little calf next to the big bull. Hard to see from here if it's a male or female calf, but if it is a male, he's got a lot of growing to do to develop into a big bull like that. Look at the density of muscle in that male's shoulders. He's wrapping his horns around that youngster's head there. But nothing too serious, all quite gentle movements at the same time. You know, that bull will be fully aware that that's a small, relatively fragile little youngster. Look at the horns on that bull. He is an absolute beaut. And nice to see the color differences now as well between the small calf and a fully mature buffalo. You can see how that bull is almost completely black in color. And quite normal for those calves to be more of that rufous type of color. So quite interesting to see at the moment also how this bigger bull hasn't really got too involved in the water. He hasn't mud wallowed too much at all. Maybe we might see him having a drink and potentially going into the water here. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, he's getting down and dirty. That is the spot. There we go. Yeah, I was very surprised. You know, usually the bulls are the first ones to kind of go into the water and really laze there for a whole lot. So it was kind of a bit surprising that he was just standing at the edge of the water there.
Are you safari savvy? How good is your animal knowledge? Animal Quizmania is back by popular demand.
How cool is this?
In aid of Earth Month for the whole month of April, we will be hosting Quizmania. Teams will pit against each other every week for some good old-fashioned interactive fun on the Sunset Show. To enter, form a team of at least 2 people. Fill out the form on our website, name your team, and come get
I don't know if you heard that. That was a buffalo sneezing. Dilla, in terms of dangers and worries going on safari, I think in terms of the animals that we're going to be watching on safari, you think of your buffaloes, your lions, your leopards and things like that, you're not really going to have a problem with that. Inside the game vehicle, you're 100% safe. You know, they see the vehicle as one sort of unit. They're very comfortable with that. Obviously, when you're walking in the lodge at night time, if there are no fences around the lodge, which in certain camps you look at, Sabi Sands and things like that, that is a possibility. You've just got to walk with the night porter in case, there is anything walking through the camp. And, as much as sort of bad news travels fast and things like that, and further than any type of good news, I think you more than likely your biggest worry is probably going to be mosquitoes and malaria. Malaria is not the biggest worry in the world. But there obviously is the chance of getting it in certain places. Down here in the Eastern Cape, you're not going to be getting it. But in certain other areas, when you start moving all the way up into Mozambique, that may potentially become something you need to address. But if you think of your likelihood of having a bit of a problem of a run-in with a buffalo, you've just got to think about it carefully. Don't drive too close to the buffalo, and more than often or not, you'll be having a guide taking you around, and that is his job to know what are sort of the distances that a lot of these animals are comfortable with, and reading their body language and their body behavior. So I wouldn't say that these bigger animals are going to be your main concern. Obviously, it's something you've got to be wary of and just keep in mind. But that would be just my 2 cents, Other people might have different opinions. This bull can't really seem to find a comfortable position. He's got himself that nice little island to rest his chin on there, but it actually doesn't seem like he's utilizing it all too much. And obviously in terms of these buffalo being in the water, out here in the bush, size is pretty much everything. So with the buffalo being a big animal and there being plenty of them, if something like warthog did want to come up here and mud wallow, there's a good chance that they might kind of just prolong actually getting to the water and continue feeding on the outskirts of the waterhole. And kind of we're getting to the stage now where a lot of the different members of this herd are starting to move off and graze. They've been to the mud wallow, they're happy. Now we've only got 5 or 6 individuals that are in the water. So plenty of the other areas within the waterhole are kind of becoming available for animals to go into if they would like. So those warthogs might have a chance to potentially go sort of into the water. If I pan across here, you'll kind of see how there's now quite a few spots available, and those buffalo would kind of be happy for the warthog to come in. However, if this was the start, if the whole herd of buffalo was now coming in, there'd be too many buffalo crisscrossing, going all over the place. And the warthog wouldn't really feel all too comfortable with that. Even for those giraffe at the back that we saw earlier, there's too much going on. There's too many buffaloes here for them to really feel comfortable and come down for a drink. Starbuck, yes, yeah, they are, 100%. So remember, when buffalo are born, they've just got small little points of, it's more cartilage than anything else, and then from there that bone will start to grow and develop and solidify. So what we're seeing at the moment is the outer covering of it, really. And remember, that's keratin, so the same kind of substance as your fingernail, but very tightly compressed together, creating that outer covering of horn that we're having a look at. Underneath that is bone. So if you see a buffalo, often the bulls, with only one horn, the one side has been broken off, you've got to kind of think of the immense amount of pressure that has to be exerted to break that off, because that is bone. And it's not like it's a thin little flimsy bone, it's a thick bone underneath there. So yes, it is bone under there. And everything out here, you know, gets consumed. Nothing goes to waste. If a buffalo dies from natural causes, old age, or whatever it might be, there's actually a specific type of moth that will eat away at that keratin. It's called a keratin moth. That if you find a buffalo skull that's maybe like a year or two old, and you see these sort of elongated, almost mud-like structures that are attached to the skull, that is that's the actual, you know, the larval form of that keratin moth underneath there. So remember, it's very sensitive to the sun, so it kind of encapsulates itself in its own dung and its feces, protecting its skin from the sun. And from there, it taps into the keratin of that horn itself, and kind of eats away at that. So if you do have a look at an old buffalo skull that's kind of got these little holes dotted all over the place, that's from those little keratin moths. So absolutely nothing goes to waste out here. It's really incredible. You know, you talk about moths, there's a specific type of moth that burrows into an elephant's foot if it dies, lays its eggs there, and you know, the little larvae will hatch and start their life in the foot of an elephant from a little tinny-eyed moth. I really enjoy this bull here on the left hand side. Have a look at the horns, how that one horn on the right hand side is kind of covered in mud. And the left hand one is still relatively clean. And look at all of that mud that's stuck there on the right hand side as well. So often you see amongst the bulls like a passive way of kind of saying, you know, I'm the big dog, I'm the big man around you. A little bit of competition amongst the bulls. You often see them trying to get mud stuck onto their horns after they've been to the mud wallows, kind of horning up against a lot of the vegetation, trying to get a little branchlet or something kind of stuck in the horns. So I'd say that this is one of the slightly younger bulls that's in the herd compared to the big old one that we've seen. But he's an absolute beaut. And it's really nice to kind of just look at the horns themselves. You look at all of the different colors and textures throughout those horns. You know, you look at the horn on the top left-hand side, how it's kind of glistening in the sunlight there. You've obviously got all of the mud on the right-hand side there. And it's a beautiful shape to those horns. Almost if you think of like a fishing hook, the bottom of a fishing hook, it's a similar type of shape. You know, and shape of horns is all going to be determined sort of genetically and things like that. This buffalo's got almost perfectly symmetrical horns that are very sort of curling. You look at other buffalo, their horns come to the side and then angle up sharply. Other buffaloes have got a very broad spread of the horns. You know, that the biggest buffalo in this herd, the biggest bull in this herd, has got a massive set of horns. And similar to our bigger bull that we saw this morning, if you were with us during our sunrise safari, you can see when this one is chewing away, when he's ruminating, he's also got a thick little viscous bit of saliva going on there. Seems to be the common thread of the day. And just to clarify, I zoomed into him to have a look at his horns, not get a close-up of his less than admirable hygiene habits of eating and chewing. Seems like everybody's ruminating. All three of our buffalo here, getting their feeding session on. Okay, I think let's leave these buffalo to slowly meditate upon their food. And I think in the meantime, let's take you across to Lisa, who's got something special for us.
Thank you, Nick. What an awesome sighting. And if any of you have just joined us, welcome to Escape to Nature. We are having an absolute brilliant day. We are currently in Djuma with some helmeted guinea fowl dust bathing. It is absolutely adorable. It happens often, but it's not something you get to actually get on camera too often. But so far in Djuma, we've done a bit of birding as well with our brown-headed parrots that are busy nesting. We've had a waterbuck mom and baby. Cedric and Igor has seen a juvenile fish eagle in Madikwe, as well as an elephant and some general game. And then, of course, Nick has just had some beautiful buffalo in Kariga, and this morning earlier on he also had some eland. So it's really been a super eventful day. But if you are just joining us, welcome and thank you so much for joining us. We only have a wee bit of time left on Escape to Nature, but please do keep those questions and comments coming. And as I said, this is in fact a helmeted guinea fowl, fairly common species in Africa. I always call them the police chickens of the bush. But as I say, this is something you don't see too often. It is busy dust bathing. A few of them were actually, and then they took off. But this is something that birds do to, sort of just preen themselves, clean themselves a little bit, try to get rid of all of those extra parasites. Just looking around. Where did my friends go? I can swear there were more of you here. And I don't know if you joined us. It was the day before yesterday on Sunset Safari. We had a 3-banded plover with Tess, and it was doing this, I called it the plover polka dance, because it was just absolutely incredible how it was sort of tapping the foot on the actual soil, trying to get some of those insects out. But even this in itself, birds are such fascinating creatures when you actually just take time to just observe them, whether they are swimming, feeding, preening, cleaning, mating. They really are absolutely incredible animals. And you can see the wind has picked up a little bit in Djuma, so I do apologize if it's shaking a little bit. Just bear with us. I'm not sure what this guinea fowl is doing. It started off with dust bathing. And I don't know if it's particularly preparing for a nest. It would not be a very clever place at all. But you never know. This is very odd behavior. I do apologize for the wind. Seagull, I believe it was, if I'm not mistaken, Max. Oh, Figo. What are the biggest safari misconceptions that people have? Figo, you should have asked this earlier on. We're going to need a lot of time. No, I'm just kidding. I think for me personally, the biggest one that I've encountered is the fact that, I mean, people know that these animals are wild, but still they think that we have somehow evolved to this relationship that we have with them, that we can pet them and all of that. I mean, I get it. When we are watching Mr. Marips with his tongue sticking out, or, you know, the three amigos that are lying, cuddling each other, purring, I get that. It is super tempting to want to actually go up to that animal and befriend it. But for me personally, that's been the biggest one. I've had many a guest getting off the safari vehicle, either going to use the toilet or to pick up a wallet, or to actually go closer to actually photograph the animal. So that definitely is one of the biggest ones. What are some of the other ones? Yes, for me personally, that is definitely the biggest thing, you know, that they realize it's wild, but they also don't realize that in the same breath. Especially, you know, at the lodges as well that don't have fences. I mean, we've at my previous lodge had many a nights where there's lions in camp, or a leopard, or even some of the wild elephants. And yes, guests just walk up to them. Then we're like, no, just because we're at the lodge now does not mean that these are tame animals. They are still very much wild. What else? I think that is the biggest one. Max, can you think of anything else? Some of the misconceptions, or any of our viewers, if you can think of any misconceptions that people have about safari. But yes, thinking that the animals are tame, thinking that we have such a relationship with them that we can just get off. I think one of the other bigger misconceptions, and it probably goes with that as well, but not respecting animal boundaries. You know, people just thinking that we should go closer and we are entitled to see these animals up close and personal and invade their space. I've had so many guests on safari telling me, you know, go closer, we can't see. Or I don't know if they wanted to count the whiskers on the lion or the leopard or the eyelashes on the giraffe, but that too is something that happens quite often. Yes, thank you for that one, Max. A lot of people tend to think, you know, that's actually the most important one. You know, people watch documentaries, or even, you know, when we have a lucky drive on Wild Earth, and people come on safari and they think that, oh no, but we want to see lions making a kill, we want to see elephants with babies, we want to see something mating, we want to see something giving birth. And when you sort of tell them, listen, anything and everything that we see out here is a massive privilege and just an absolute bonus, then they sort of like, well, on this one documentary, I saw that this person saw this and this and this and this and this. And I'm like, yes, you know, they waited 3 months in one spot for that one shot to happen. So definitely that. People wanting to, you know, have a 2-day safari and and just immediately see everything. And I get it. If you are coming for Africa for the first and probably only time in your lifetime, then I too would want to see as much as I can. But at the end of the day, it's wild animals. We can't control anything out here. So, definitely. Yes, that is another one. Max is saying, do you guys have elephants and lions in your backyard? I have to say, for me personally, that wasn't necessarily one so much in Africa as it was for me when I worked abroad. And again, you know, that's not necessarily people being uneducated or uninformed, it's just experience. Everything does come with experience. I too, there's a lot that I still have to learn about other countries and cultures and things, so I get it to a certain extent. But yes, I've had some interesting safaris where people are just sort of not uninformed, but they just they have a different view of how we do things on safari, how we live out here, coexist with the animals.
On April 27th, Wild Earth will be celebrating a very special birthday. It's our Sweet 16. We want to celebrate you, our viewers who have been with us every step of the way.
I just appreciate you so much.
Send in your birthday wishes so we can include you in the celebrations.
Happy birthday, Wild Earth!
Video yourself saying happy birthday to Wild Earth with a short note and share them with us on birthday@wildearth.
But Figo, just to get back to your question, one of the other misconceptions I think is that I think sometimes there's this expectation that guides or naturalists or trackers know everything, they can see everything, they are always informed. I mean, for me personally, I'm always the first one to tell guests, listen, I have no idea what the answer to your question is. However, I will get back to you. And I always, make sure that I either ask a colleague or a fellow naturalist or even a lodge manager. I've worked with some brilliant lodge managers that in their time they too were guides. But yes, even as naturalists, I always say, whether you've been in the bush for 5 minutes, 5 months, 50 years, you are always going to learn and experience something new. And I think it's so crucial, to be open to that, to be able to say, listen, sorry, I am a human being. I unfortunately do not have the answers to everything. And just be honest with your guest, or in our case, with our viewers. When we don't know something, say, I'm not sure. That is actually one of the biggest rules that we learn. Viv P. Telepathy, eh? You're also saying that a misconception is that guides know everything there is to know. Definitely. I mean, it's at the end, and I've encountered guests like that, that where they literally ask you something that you've never thought about, like, stupid example, does a butterfly know it's a butterfly? Or no, that was a very silly example, but something that you personally have not thought about. And I often say this, but when you are in a certain career, whether you are a nurse, a lawyer, a doctor, a teacher, a naturalist, a director, whatever the case is, you eventually get in a comfort zone and you tend to just, sort of stagnate, I almost want to say, and repeat, the general things. For me specifically, when I started at Wild Earth again, it was a radical change for me because, first of all, I've not been bushbound at that time. I think it was about 1.5 years. So because you don't see things, because you don't talk about them every day, you tend to forget a lot of things. So even for us as naturalists, we constantly have to just study a bit again and read up on some things. I'm sure you've seen with a lot of the naturalists like Cedric now that's in Madikwe. Even he himself is rediscovering and relearning so many things once again, because yes, we do study basic things, but if you are bound to a certain area for a very long period of time, you tend to not talk about other animals anymore. Like in Djuma, for instance, we don't see a lot of cheetahs. So when we do see cheetahs, sort of like, you just have to refresh yourself again. And it's perfectly okay to say that. I mean, every single day is a learning opportunity, not just for guests or for viewers, but for us as naturalists as well, even for the directors. Our current director, Max, who's currently the lovely voice in my ear, Max, for instance, he loves learning as well. So if one of you guys asks something and I too am like, you have me at a loss for words right now, then Max will immediately research it and we'll sort of learn about it together, which is brilliant. We've got that ability nowadays. You can literally find out something in seconds. But yes, Viv, that is that is one of the misconceptions. Why don't we know everything? Why have we not seen everything? I mean, I've been in many sightings where I've sat with a mouth full of teeth just saying to the guests that I have no idea what's happening right now. I've never seen this behavior. I've never heard that noise. I've never heard that bird making that sort of call. And that is the beauty about everything out here. I always say we are not meant to fully understand everything. First of all, because we are not that incredible. No offense, but I just believe that Mother Nature in itself and animals and everything out here, the organisms, is just beyond what we can even try to understand. And that is okay. But that does not for 1 second mean we should stop to try learn. Viv, you see, you are making a good point now with your question. How many fish are in Gowrie Dam? Oh my goodness. Yes, that is my answer. Final answer. I have no idea, Viv. I cannot tell you, for I do not know how many fish there were a couple of months ago. I don't know how many fish has been consumed in the meantime. I actually had a hilarious conversation with my mother and sister the other day because we spoke about someone, this was a couple of weeks ago, but someone asked, one of our wonderful viewers asked, do we think that that elephants ever slurp up tadpoles whilst they are drinking? And my mom was like, yes, duh, of course it happens. And so I really wanted to complicate things, and I said to my mom, okay, well, does that make them an omnivore? And she had this puzzled look, and she was like, well, no, because they're not doing it on purpose. And I said, doesn't matter, Mom. And you could see her head was really starting to just rumble around. But Viv, I don't know. I'm sorry, I apologize. I can try to get you some stats on that. It's it's always interesting as well when when guests ask us something like, when is this animal's birthday as well? It's I don't know. I don't follow them on social media, so I can't give you an exact date. I'm gonna have a look-see and see if... Oh, there you are! I was literally just going to say, I wonder where the waterbuck went. You can see the wind is definitely picking up now, which is probably why the waterbuck is just hiding itself a little bit more. And just like that, they disappear again. The mom and baby waterbuck. Or the waterbuck. It was probably one of my biggest arguments on a daily basis working at Disney. When people saw the waterbuck, they would say, "What's that?" And I would say, "That's a waterbuck." A what? A waterbuck. Oh, you mean a waterbuck? No, okay, that's what I mean, sure. But yes, how wonderful would it be if we actually did know everything? Wonderful, but boring, let's be honest. I mean, for me personally, and I know I say this so often, I promise you I learn something new every single day on Wild Earth. Whether it's on Sunrise Safari or Escape to Nature, you know, because when I'm not live, I do watch my colleagues as well. Cedric, Nick, Rolf, Andrew, whoever is in the other locations. And there's not one day that goes by that I don't learn something. Whether it's from the actual naturalist or perhaps from a camera operator or even from the animals. I mean, that day that that Tess, and I think it was Morgan that was the camera operator in Amakala, when they had those wildebeest that made those funny vocalizations. I've never heard that. So it's always good to be open to new information and new experiences. And of course, we learn from you too, believe me. Alrighty, well, since I don't have any animals to show you, I'm going to spend you. Goodness, I'm not going to spend you, I promise. I'm going to send you over to Nick and those beautiful buffaloes so they can say goodbye.
Shortage of animals here at Kariega today. So our herd of buffalo has slowly started to amble off away from that little mud wallow where we were watching them. There's only one bull left, sleeping and dozing away in the water there. Got himself a good spot. And you can see some of the members of the herd have already settled down, doing a little bit of ruminating. And I don't really see this herd going all too far. You know, they did a bit of feeding this morning. And even in the water, we saw a few of them ruminating in the water. So I kind of think the majority of the herd is more than likely going to settle up here. I mean, what are we now? Almost 12:30. So pretty much slap bang in the middle of the day. And I would think it's probably going to be a pretty good life decision for these buffalo to settle down here during the heat of the day. You know, they've cooled themselves down with a bit of mud in the water. Being out and about in the open sun now, obviously they'll sweat a little bit to keep cool. But who knows, maybe now that they've kind of moved off away from the water, if there's any other species that have been wanting to come down to that mud wallow, it does kind of open up the option and create that opportunity for them to come down there. Yeah, I think our port of call for these buffalo is to more than likely take it easy for the next few hours. Maybe closer to sort of 5:30 or so, potentially start to move around again for the afternoon. But they've got themselves a good spot here. Not too far away from the banks of the Kariega River. They've got a pretty good view looking to the north here all the way through the valleys and things that the Kariega River moves through. So they've got food, they've got water, they've got a cracker view. They're good to go. They're pretty golden. You can see a lot of the calves have settled down now as well. And look at these ones on the right hand side, how all of the mud is now kind of glistening and creating that sheen on their body. Zoe, I'm glad that you've enjoyed the show. That we've brought a little bit of peace and tranquility to your home. And it's just been a lovely day from not just here at Kariega, but from across all of our different locations. And I hope you have all learned something, that you've really enjoyed the show. And thanks so much for tuning in with us today. And I think along with these buffalo, I might take a little bit of a rest, hopefully in the shade, not in the middle of the open area in the sun. But stick around with us as we do start to head towards our sunset safari later on this afternoon. You never know what we're going to find. There's always something good around the corner. The bush always provides. But from all of us here at Wild Earth, thanks once again for joining us for today's session of Escape to Nature.